name is Heather Drain, and welcome to this humble list. It is summertime. It is nasty. We're all feeling the oppressive, sweaty tentacles of the summer season. It is all now upon us. But have no fear, because while other folks are outside getting bitten by mosquitoes, getting broiled by the sun, and burnt to an absolute gas station hot dog crisp, you can stay cool by staying inside and watching some great and very underrated horror films, some of which have a little art house flair. Now, when it comes to summer horror, most people tend to either hyper-focus on the beach or summer camp, which is fine. There is nothing wrong with that. I love them both in films. Real life's a little more dodgy.
Seen this in my favorite picture, The Pearls of Pauline.
But what if we combined the beach with camp? We get the 2000 cult horror comedy gem Psycho Beach Party. Directed by Robert Lee King and based on writer, actress, drag queen, and playwright extraordinaire Charles Busch and his 1987 play of the same name, Psycho Beach Party is a Valentine for any of us who love the 1960s beach party movies. South Dakota Slim, anybody?
You know, the name of the game is pool, booby.
Slasher films and campy comedy. Charles Busch is the name that needs to be lauded and spoke of more. His credits are sterling, but he first came upon my horizon back in my teens when I was researching things that basically were the intersections of drag queen culture, cult horror, and weird theater. And that's how I had found out about his 1984 stage play, Vampire Lesbians of Sodom. Okay, could somebody please give him a big bag of money and get this mad beauty adapted for the big screen, please?
Come to your daddy. I'm gonna take it to my booby house.
Psycho Beach Party has a pitch-perfect cast, but the absolute ace in the deck here is Lauren Ambrose as the cute-as-a-button chicklet whose skipper-like exterior houses a split personality that includes a feisty grande dame named Anne Bowman. We also get Busch as a no-nonsense Captain Monica Stark, who is hot on the heels of a killer preying upon the hot-to-trot teens of Malibu Beach. By the way, no shock here, but Busch is great too. His performance as Monica invokes legends like Susan Hayward, and this film has a great soundtrack too. It's absolutely killer, and it highlights some of my favorite modern surf rock bands, including Los Straitjackets and Manor Astroman. Now, from here on out, the rest of my picks are going to be relatively beach and summer camp free. I know, I'm sorry, but the summertime can be evoked, I think, in a lot of different ways and different themes and vibes. For example, what about getting together with some friends for a weekend stay at a quaint Airbnb that's nestled in the mountains of Simi Valley, California? Good times, cold beers, food fights, heck, maybe even tales of manly observations.
Breast and everything. I got a throbber, man.
Yet, what if that same humble space was the scene of a violent murder via one large ominous tool? Yes, I could only be talking about David A. Pryor's 1983 shot-on-video classic Sledgehammer. Sledgehammer is a horror movie that edges on absolute delirium at times. In fact, for any of you who doubt these claims, here's a quick checklist of what we got to look forward to. Romantic beer can head balancing? Check. A child ghost that becomes a huge-ass flannel-wearing guy in a creepy clear face mask? Check. Eating a whole sandwich at once? Absolutely. Food spitting? You got it. A flashback that is flashbacked yet again? You know it, baby. And so much more. Sledgehammer is also a film that gives us the glory that is Ted Pryor. Now, Ted Pryor is more than just David A. Pryor, brother, our wonderful director here. As an actor, I don't think Ted Pryor gets the praise he deserves. He is an actor that always delivers a charismatic performance and has a kind of a gravitas about him. I mean, for being a guy that is conventionally attractive, blonde hunk type of dude, he has these stones of a solid character actor, and Sledgehammer is all the better for having him in it. Don't believe me? Just listen to his glorious mating call. Sledgehammer was the second shot-on-video film to be released to the general public for distribution and viewing. The first being Boarding House, which is also a badass film that could have been on this list. It's not, but we'll save that for another time. Summertime is often presented in film as being a period that is absolutely lousy with fun and sexy antics. But you know what? When you're a kid, it's usually long, hot days and pretty good odds of you having to spend some time at a relative's house that you barely know while your folks are either working or having some you-free fun. Dollars to donuts. This relative even lives out in what we like to colloquially call the boonies. Many horror films have captured the atmosphere of summer camp, but very few have tapped into the horror of being stuck in the middle of nowhere with a relative you are not comfortable with. Especially when said relative is a distant aunt who keeps her dead husband's body in a shed and has a young handyman whose lust for blood is only surpassed by his lust for freshly shorn flesh. Welcome to Splatter Farm. Made in 1987 but not released on VHS until 1990, Splatter Farm is an infamous shot-on-video horror classic made by and starring both Mark and John Polonia as well as Todd Michael Smith. It is gooey. It is gruery. And it is absolutely unforgettable. There is such a disquieting charm amidst the disturbing subject matters and visuals that are all rooted in this genuine drive by both the Polonias and Smith to make twisted and gory rural Southern Gothic kind of horror movie. And in fact, it's even more impressive when you realize that all three of them were basically teenagers. They were all freshly out of high school when they made Splatter Farm. On top of all that, the fact that menacing Aunt Lacey is played by Todd Michael Smith's actual real-life grandmother, Marion Costley, which completely blows my mind on a nearly daily basis. It's a rare bird. Splatter Farm is that film that is somehow, while it's still transgressive with its story, I mean, we're dealing with themes ranging from incest to necrophilia, it's free of any edgelord energy.
Means the ones with the big titties?
Purity is not for just the saints, my friends. While Splatter Farm is very low budget, it's not a negative to its point. In fact, far from it. If anything, kind of the low budget to almost no budget kind of works for it. There's like a grotty feel, but yet, I mean, the boys know what they're doing. I mean, there is careful composition, there's camera angles, there's a zest about the performances. Some of the gore, while it ranges from clearly obvious, but it's still kind of gross. I think it's actually very hyper gross, in fact. It's a cool movie. And let's face it, I mean, it's easy for a lot of backseat critics to poo-poo and be derisive of micro-budget cinema and shot on video. But you know what? At the end of the day, that's their loss. Because, you know, it's like saying a painting is only viable if the oil in the paint has flecks of actual gold in it. It's ridiculous. Individual tastes are individual tastes, and that's totally fine. But you know, if someone is just automatically closed off to a film simply because of its budget and not being overly glossy, it's a little narrow-minded, and it's kind of sad.
See my new friend?
Now, the great Chris Stamey once sang, "If I'm lost, I've won in the summer sun." But not everyone wins in the rays of the oppressive light, as we learned in Stephanie Rothman's 1971 film, The Velvet Vampire. The Velvet Vampire revolves around a young couple who meet the enchanting Diane LeFanu, played to absolute vampiric perfection by the great Celeste Yarnall at an art show. But do you remember when your mother told you about going to beautiful but desolate desert compounds owned by beautiful women you barely know? Wait, your mom didn't say anything about that? Well, anyways, the film is ripe with an atmosphere that feels like the hazy edges of a dream that keeps lapsing back and forth into a nightmare. It's sexy, it's smart, and it's proof that more horror films, especially vampire ones, should be set in the desert. The cast are all great, but this is 100% Yarnall's show. She is everything you could want in a vampire. She's charismatic, who can easily vacillate between the cold-bloodedness of a killer to the warmth fire of either sensuality or murderous rage. She is absolute magic. Also, as a cult film lover, I would be completely remiss if I didn't mention that Michael Blodgett is part of the couple in this film. For all of you beyond the Valley of the Dolls fan who remember him as the Golden Boy Gigolo Lance Rock.
Hey, Rube, it's your party. Let's do it.
Speaking of films that bridge the gap between dreaminess and horror, especially one set in the desert, the next film is 1998's Pig. Directed by artist and Cold Epic's founder Nico B. and the late, great, and eternally missed Roz Williams, Pig is a challenging film of beauty, loneliness, and serial killer fixations. There are references to the work of Rene Magritte that are interwoven here. Pig is just a film that has a tangible disquietness about it that tends to cling to the inner recesses of your gray matter long after you finish watching it. Now, if the name Roz Williams is familiar to you, it might be because you are, like myself, a massive fan of Christian Death, Shadow Project, Premature Ejaculation, or his solo work. For dying at such a young age, at 34, Roz Williams' legacy and his musical work alone is so defiantly brilliant and just completely refuses to be categorized. Those are all things you could say about Pig. It's a harder horror film to categorize neatly. It's definitely not going to be for everybody, but if you're open to it, I find it incredibly rewarding and just a very special film.
Tasty.
Before I bid all of you adieu, here are some honorable mentions for your underseen horror movie watch list for the summertime. Pigs from 1973. Now that's pigs plural. Don't get confused. Character actor Mark Lawrence also did some directing throughout his career, and this was his final film. Pig stars his actual real-life daughter, Tony, who is absolutely wonderful here. She doesn't really get a lot of praise, but you know what? Neither does this film, which is an absolute crime. This film is an absolute incredible ride that honestly, to this day, remains one of the most, I think, unique and tonally kind of queasy horror films I've ever seen. It's absolutely precious in a very demented, fantastic way. And for anybody who's worried about the title, there's no animal cruelty to my memory in this film. So don't worry, it's not Deodato's pigs. So we're fine. And I love Deodato. But you know what? Tonally queasy also kind of could be used to describe the next film, Island of Death from 1976, directed by cult film juggernaut Nico Mastorakis. Oh, Nico, how I love thee. Island of Death is set on the Greek island of Mykonos, where an incestuous brother and sister visit and wreak transgressive havoc all over the place, and that's putting it mildly. The film has such a great call out to the hypocrisy of religious zealots. It has perhaps the best folk song ever written. Get the sword, get the sword, the sword. And a twist ending that is the absolute chef's kiss from the mouth of chaos herself. So, whether you're needing a reprieve from the summer heat or you're missing its warmth, when you're needing that special film that hits an oppressive sweet spot that stands outside the norm, you cannot go wrong with any of these films. So, in the meantime, please keep cool, stay hydrated, take absolutely no guff, be loving, especially to yourself, and be always willing to kick some ass. And I'll see you somewhere down on the Mindway.